The Outdoor Show. It's the program that puts you into the peaceful and beautiful home of Mother Nature. It moves you back to that calm fishing pond up north, one step away from Lake Michigan, or into your hunting blind on a brisk fall morning. The Outdoor Show. It's a peaceful program. This is not your mother's outdoor show. This is the WHTC Outdoor Show, hosted by a guy who literally has hunting in his name. Tom Meddendorp is Dutch for Village in the Maiden, or King's Hunting Ground. Your co-host, sometimes, is Tim Becker of Powderhorn Guns and Archery. It's time for what really happens when the guys go up north on that hunting trip. It's time for the WHTC Outdoor Show, presented by My Firearms ETS. That's MI Firearms ETS on 1450 WHTC, Holland's news leader.
Good morning. Welcome to the Outdoor Show. This is Tom Meddendorp. My sometimes co-host Tim Becker is not here this morning. That makes it hold true. But I've got Jim Boyce from Rod Benson Game Calls with me, and we're going to talk turkey this morning. What do you think?
That sounds good, Tom.
You know, I came outside this morning, and the birds were chirping. There was heavy dew, and it just made me think, turkey hunting.
It's the perfect time. Every morning you hear them birds get started. You know it's not long, and you're going to start to hear some gobbling.
I know it. You hear the little songbirds start going, and then you know that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just a matter of where is it going to be.
Right now it's up. It's anywhere where there's turkeys.
Anywhere there's turkeys. The problem is for people to find the turkeys. And we talked last time about looking for them, looking for those roost trees and stuff like that. And I can't wait to get into it. But I got to know, do you fish, Jim?
Yes, I do.
Did you see that we have new fishing regulations that were just adopted?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, there are new fishing regulations that were just adopted. The thing that confuses me is that the Natural Resource Commission was temporarily out of business, so to speak. And I'm not sure how that happened or where that happened. I never heard about it. But the Natural Resource Commission, the NRC is the place that when we passed, it's the, oh golly, let me think here. Scientific Fish and Wildlife Conservation Act.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it.
That's a long name.
Yeah.
Well, that was the act that we passed recently that gave the vets free licenses, and it was last year. It was last year's drive to get this done, and then of course in the fall we had the different bills or words are escaping me this morning. We had to vote on them. We had to vote on the wolf hunt thing.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
remember
like
that.
Well, having passed the Scientific Fish and Wildlife Conservation Act, it made those proposals. It made those moot. There were no. You could sit and debate them all day long, but it wasn't going to change. But the USHS had dumped, I think, $1.5 million into getting people to vote no on the proposals, even though it wasn't going to change anything. It was just for a 2014 wolf hunt, which wasn't going to be done anyway because the passing of the different stuff didn't leave enough time for the NRC to set up the dates and stuff. Well, the NRC sets up what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. That's a panel of 7 people made up by appointment. So it's a bureaucracy, but they're appointed by the governor, and a lot of them just roll over, I believe, because they're people that have a background in biology, wildlife, and so on. Anyway, they lost the regulatory authority. The NRC did. So we didn't get all the stuff ready for the start of the 2015-16 fishing or angler year, so to speak, which started on April 1. So those things weren't taken care of. Now we have the hard copy version, which went out for all the fishing regulations.
Yep.
But not everything's in there. So people have to look to get these new regulations online. So you're shaking your head.
Oh yeah, you got to love the way Michigan runs it. Yeah, we're just a little behind, you know. You got to look up these new laws.
Yeah.
And
So, well, what I want to do is I want to give just a brief overview, but then for folks that want to find it, there's a link on our Facebook page. Right now, of course, it's up at the top of the timeline. So if you go there now and get that link and then save it in your browser, you'll be able to go there and get this stuff. But there's a new hook restriction, and it's in place to protect salmon snagging on certain waters. There's the bass fishing season changes. So bass has changed. The catch and immediate release for bass is now allowed all year.
that's awesome. That's the way it should be.
Well, you're releasing them, so why can't you catch them and release
why
them?
not let them go?
And then that's on statewide waters unless it's otherwise closed to fishing. So if there's waters that are closed to fishing, you can't do that. And then you have to look in the printed guide for those things. But then the Great Lakes trout and salmon regulations have changed on Lake Huron and on Lake Michigan, and it's a little confusing to me. So I didn't have enough time when I noticed this. I didn't have enough time to dig into it and read it carefully and give real good info on it. So you have to look at that. You have to look at those trout and salmon regulations carefully to make sure that everything is good. And then there's the inland trout and salmon regulations, and that affects brook trout minimum size limits. And there's a new regulation for Upper Peninsula brook trout restoration areas. So you got to be careful on that if you like getting your brook trout, because I love brook trout fishing.
The thing I say about all of your regulations for your trout and salmon, if you have any question, call the DNR.
Yeah.
Because it is not worth getting a fine or tickets for something that you thought you read or misunderstood in the booklet.
Right. So ultimately, go to the authority. Yep. Don't go to us here on the Outdoor Show because we just like to talk. But go to the authority, the Department of Natural Resources. You talk to the conservation officers, get the information if you don't understand what's in the book or what's online. Now that link, if you go to Facebook, it's The Outdoor Show. Just type that in, space between the and space between outdoor, or the and outdoor, and then outdoor and show. Of course, there's spaces in there, but The Outdoor Show. Get on there, check out that link, go to that link, and then down at the bottom you'll see there's a link to go to your fishing guide, the hard copy, so you can put it on your computer. You don't have to have the paper copy. And then there's also there's an additional PDF at the very bottom after you've gone to the link. Then you can go to the very bottom and get that PDF, which spells things out in more detail. So I was just concerned about that and thinking, how many people are going to goof this up?
Yeah. Every time they change it, it's something you got to look at. You have to study, and if you can't figure it out and you don't understand it fully, then contact your DNR resources.
Yeah, and you can always look at michigan.gov/DNR.
Yep.
So it's michigan.gov/DNR, and that'll give you the information. You can find information there in order to clarify everything, so to speak.
Yep.
So do you plan to do some fishing at all?
Probably not a whole lot of river or salmon fishing.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit out on the big lake, and mostly a lot of bass fishing.
Oh, you like to bass fish?
Yeah.
That's so it's a good thing, and you're happy that we're going to have the all year long catch and release.
I've been waiting for it for the last 20 years.
There's a lot of things we've all been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
But with this beautiful weather and thinking about all this, I know what I love to do. I like to go turkey hunting and river fish.
Oh yeah.
And get morels.
Oh yeah. And those all kind of fall into the same weekend.
They do. And if you find a little batch of morels, you find some wild onions, you catch yourself some fish, and then you fry it up you stay along the river, so you camp out for your turkey hunting.
Yep.
And then you can cook up a nice supper with mushrooms, wild onions, fresh fish. in a fry pan with butter. Don't forget your butter. You gotta take your butter with you. Butter. We like butter. Yeah. Anyhow, we're going to take a short break here, and we'll come back in just a moment. The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Westenbroek Mower, where they service what they sell. All units are ready to use when they leave the store, and Westenbroek submits your warranty information so you don't have to. Stop into the Holland or the Genesis store, check them out on your computer at westenbrookmower.com, or call them 616-396-5733. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on the Outdoor Show. Welcome back to the Outdoor Show, brought to you by Lakeshore Tackle and Firearms, your full-service gun dealer, stocking new and used firearms, Glock, Sig Sauer, Ruger, and more. Lakeshore Tackle and Firearms are buyers of all kinds of firearms and located at 6398 Blue Star Highway. That's just 6 short miles south of Holland at exit 41. Find them on your computer at lakeshoretackleandfirearms.com. We're back, ready to talk with you. Give us a call, 395-1450, and we've got a caller on the line right now. Good morning, caller. How are you? Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good. Quick question for you. Do you guys look for deer sheds in the spring, and is it beneficial to do that for your fall hunt? I'm just curious about that, and I'll hang up and listen to you guys on the radio.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Looking for sheds. Boy, I wish we had Tim here.
Yeah, actually, this time of the year is a really good time to find them. Just as soon as that snow is gone, you got to get out there. Michigan's got a lot of small critters that'll chew them up pretty quick, but they're still finding them right now.
I've seen different posts people put out, of course, because I have the Outdoor Show and I have Michigan Firearms, both on Facebook.
Yep.
And I've seen some pictures and stuff where people are showing their dogs are actually locating the sheds. Now, are they following the scent of the smaller animals that are going to those sheds?
No, they're actually most of your labs and your breeds that are good at that. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is put them around a shed antler. They get that scent. They start running around the woods. They pick that scent up again. They'll grab it.
Same thing like when I train my dog for grouse. I take my grouse bag with the grouse scent on it, and I give them that scent. Of course, my kid's got to hold them back, and then I go and I run a track, and then he follows that track to find it.
Exactly.
That bugger, he always smells it in the air, though.
Yeah.
He takes the cross-country route and catches me before I even get done. But now, so benefits to the shed. So it's kind of cool because we talked about how the mushrooms, the onions, the fish, and everything, it's all at the same time along with turkey season. But if you're out there still scouting for turkey, you can find antler sheds, which is a good indicator of what's going on in your area.
Yeah,
right?
Especially if you have your own private property, you get a good survey of your animals, of what kind of bucks you have in your property. If you have any mature deer, if you find their sheds, you know they made it through the winter. At least a real good portion of the winter anyway.
Well, because are most of them shed by now, or are they still shedding?
That we have a lot of pictures of guys that still have bucks with hard antler yet.
Really?
Yep.
Kind of surprising.
Yep. Most of them have shed, but there's still a few yet.
Just a few.
Yep.
Now, does that indicate a healthier deer or not?
I would say healthier because they made it through the winter and they still had enough protein, enough calcium to where that stayed hard.
Okay.
It'll actually grow over, and then like a film will grow over underneath it, and it will actually fall off.
Okay, because it stops the blood flow basically to it, right?
Well, it already stopped, but what it is there's some sort of a skin that'll grow underneath it.
Okay.
And actually detaches the antler.
I usually like to have one of my friends from the Outdoor Discovery Center, DeGraff Nature Center, or the Ottawa County Parks Commission, because they have the degrees, and they understand all that stuff, and they can explain it in quite detail for how that all happens. I like to ask them questions like that because they the biology part of it, they've got that down.
It's really cool too.
Oh, it definitely is. I love it when we have them on to talk about that stuff, and they clarify They clarify how that happens, because there's a lot of, what would you call them, misnomers out there.
Yep.
Now, when we look at those sheds, when you're first shed, you find the first one.
Yep.
Is it not long and you find the second one?
No.
Or could it possibly be?
It could be a half a mile away in the cornfield.
Be nice if we had GPS on it.
Yes.
I know the elk sheds. People are still picking those up north.
Yep.
Of course, the snow didn't leave as soon up there as it did here, although it didn't leave very soon here either.
No.
It took a while for the drifts. But if you find those sheds, what else are you looking for? Okay, so we're out scouting turkey. We get into those sheds. Now, I like to do multiple things at once. It's just in my nature. Sometimes you got to stay focused on what you're doing. But let's say we find the sheds. What else are we looking for in the area to indicate? It indicates what we have on our property, but what are we looking to indicate what we might find or where we might find things in the fall?
In the fall, you're a lot of times where you're finding your deer sheds right now is where your food source is.
Okay.
If
Will it still be the same food source in the fall?
It could be different. They will go to whatever's the best for them nutritionally at the time. So if the acorns fall, they'll be on the acorns.
Right.
And they'll mop those up right up until they're done mopping up the white oaks first, and then they'll hit the red oaks, and then they'll switch back over to whatever ag is around, whether that be soybean or corn.
Where would they be now that we find the sheds?
Things are starting to green up. So any fields where they've planted your buckwheat, your oats, any of that kind of stuff that farmers have put into new growth, or any spot where you'll have some clovers edges where it's greened up, they'll be on the greens right now.
Okay, and with the thunderstorms, we had some nitrogen released.
Oh yeah.
You think that helped the mushrooms too?
Oh yeah.
Have you found any? Have you been out at all?
I haven't been out at all yet, but usually right around the May season, we start to find quite a few morels.
In the white version.
Yep.
I saw some people had found black ones already.
Yep.
South.
Yep.
Further south, they found white ones already.
Yep.
But I think it was southern Michigan. That's further south than us.
Yeah.
And they found the black morels because they come first.
Yep.
And then, of course, we're waiting for May or closer to May to see those white morels. But also on our Facebook page, if you scroll down the timeline, you'll find where I posted some tips on finding mushrooms. So people that are interested in mushrooms can find tips on the mushrooms on the Facebook page, The Outdoor Show. And I unfortunately did not put one there for finding sheds. So, well, I hope we helped out on the whole shed issue and what you're looking for and what that tells you, what you can gauge it by as far as the sheds go. And we got to take another break. Farmers Co-op Elevator in Hudsonville is your food plot headquarters with over 40 different seed varieties to choose from, providing in-house soil testing as well as fertilizers, lime, and equipment to plant, maintain, and get maximum performance out of your food plot. Visit the Farmers Co-op at 3302 Prospect Street in Hudsonville. For a complete list of products and services, check them out online at fcelevator.com. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Powderhorn Guns and Archery. For all your arrow knocking, gun cocking, fish hooking, flag waving, stand up and sing God Bless America hunting and fishing needs. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're back, ready to answer your questions right here on The Outdoor Show. And if Tim were here, he'd be whistling to the tune for Stars and Stripes. So, anyway, for folks that are just joining us, I'm here with Jim Boyce of Rod Benson Game Calls. That means they make different kinds of calls, not just turkey calls.
Yep. Deer, turkey, locator calls.
Squirrel?
No squirrel.
Squirrel? Anyway, we're talking turkey. We started out, we talked about the new fishing regulations. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page, The Outdoor Show. Look for the fishing regulation changes link. Go to that link and then hit the other links down at the bottom to get your info. Make sure you've got it. And if you have a question, call the Michigan DNR and ask them to clarify. Then we also talked about antler sheds, that you can still find them. They're out there. Might be a little nibbled on, though.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Might be a little nibbled on because the
squirrels, mice, skunks, possums.
They chew on them.
Yep. They get the mineral out of them.
Yeah, they want that. That's good for them.
Yep.
So, on to turkey hunting. With spring turkey hunting, if you did not get drawn or you did not put in for the draw, there are still licenses left,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Now, when it comes to the draw, we are in ZF. I think our earliest season down here is April 20?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep, I'm looking at the stuff online here, and April 20 is our first season. So that's not far away.
No, not far away at all.
9 days.
I'm ready.
Itching. Ready to go. So Ottawa County is in ZF with Ottawa, Allegan, Barrie, Kalamazoo, Van Buren, and then down by the state line. And I think Muskegon's included in that, in the ZF zone. Then we have down here, we also have ZA, ZE, ZD, C, and B. And then there's the unit ZZ, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now, those are just, I'm giving you the letters to associate. Everything that starts with a Z is down here in the lower half of the lower peninsula. Then we have the upper half has all just regular letters, A, B, E, F, J, K, M. B encompasses, can you see that, Jim? Is that Beaver Island? Where B is right there?
I think so.
Up there at Beaver Island? Sorry about that, folks. I had to have Jim check that out so we could see it. I think that's up on Beaver Island. Anyway, back on track. We have available licenses remaining in, it looks like, just about every Z area. ZF, there's 1,539 licenses left. If you want to get one for ZZ, that's private land only down here, 50,105 licenses left. I'd say that's a pretty good.
Yeah, I think a lot of those leftovers will get snatched up closer to the season.
Yeah, people saying, "Oh, you know what? I can go now."
Yep.
And then Hunt 234. When you hear that, that's all those Z zones down here.
Yep.
And it's all except the public land in Unit ZZ.
Yep.
Okay. There are 990,649 licenses available.
Yep.
So if you want to get your over-the-counter Hunt 234.
Yep. 234 actually goes all the way up to the top of the mitten, I believe. And you can actually hunt north of ZZ. You can hunt the
right here. It's all zones.
Yep.
Only in ZZ you can't do it on private land. So that's what the 234 covers. It covers the whole map, so to speak. And then you just can't do the public in ZZ.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So if you did the ZZ down here, you could start on 420 and go to 5.3.
Yep.
That's a 2-week. That's a 2-weeker, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you get the 234, keep in mind you can't go on public land down here. I say that because I know people that, I thought I could go anywhere.
No.
And that's happened for years. And this 234 has been around for a long time.
Long time.
So you can't go on public land in the lower half. You got to look at that map. But that's from the 4th of May, so May 4, that's a Monday, goes all the way to May 31.
Yep.
So that means you could hunt it over Memorial Day weekend.
Exactly. Gives you a lot of time to get out in the woods. It gives you those weekends for those of us that unfortunately got to work during the week.
That's a bugger, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Work gets in the way of living or something.
Yeah. It gets in the way of a lot of fun anyway.
This is true. This is true. And the employers are saying, hey, wait a minute. We make it fun.
Yeah. Got to make the money to get there on the weekend.
If work was hunting, would we think hunting was as much fun?
I would.
I would too, but
not everybody feels the way we do.
We could really be ripping on Tim right now.
Yeah.
For hunting and fishing all the time. That's work.
Yeah.
So, wherever we're going to go, whatever season we have, and we have the seasons laid out, we kind of gave you a clue on that, but you need to go to michigan.gov and then click through. You got the hunting and fishing tab, and then you've got the big game tab. They classify wild turkeys under big game. It's either the biggest of the small or the smallest of the big.
Yep.
But it's under big game. Tap on that, and then you can find turkey hunting tab. When you got the turkey hunting tab, then you've got all your different tabs to go through in order to get that, the information. Or you can pick up at major retailers that sell hunting licenses. You can pick up the guide and so on, which is in print, which is nice to have a printed copy in your vehicle.
I almost always have one in the glove compartment of the truck.
Yeah, it's in black and white that way.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's in color, but
yeah,
but black and white, so to speak. Anyhow, we talked about scouting those turkeys, finding those roosting trees and stuff like that. We're about to embark on April 20 in 9 days.
Yep.
So for folks that have that April 20, even when we get to the later seasons, we can talk a little bit about that. But starting April 20, what are we going to do first, Jim? What should we do during these 9 days first, and then on that opening morning? What's our best?
Well, this weekend would be a great weekend to lock down where the birds are going to be roosting.
Mm-hmm.
And being that it's only a week away, you stand a real good shot of the birds being in the same general area where they're roosting right now.
Okay.
So if you can nail it down where they're roosting, you can probably set up on them in that same spot on the 20th.
Okay. So finding them right now. Can we do that yet this morning?
No, too late this morning.
Because they're gone.
Yep, you have to be out there right at first light.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to find where they're at. You hit some locator calls, your crow call.
When we say first light, that doesn't mean when the sun peaks over the horizon. We mean when it starts to lighten up.
The very first crack of light.
When the birds are starting to chirp, as we talked this morning.
Just like this morning. As soon as they start to chirp, that's the same time when the songbirds start to talk, the turkeys will start to talk. Just a good clue right there.
And at that point, do we just listen?
No, you start to use your locator calls, your crow calls, your owl hoots. I would start with those early season.
Okay.
And
so the crow call, the owl hoot at first light?
Yep.
Okay. It just the crow call.
It lets you know exactly where it's a shock gobble. What it does is it causes them to shock gobble. They hear this loud, high pitched crow, and it shocks them into gobbling.
Okay. And it's out of time, so to speak, because the crows don't do their caw right away in the morning.
Nope.
That comes after the sun rises. So when we do that shocks them.
Yep.
Some people have spoken about using a coyote call to do that in the morning. Doesn't that make them shy away from dropping out of the trees?
A month ago, it was a good call. Now that you're close to the season, you're going to bump them with a coyote call.
They're going to say, I'm out of here.
Yep. They won't roost back in that spot for probably a week or a month.
Really?
Yeah, they're not friends with coyotes.
Not really.
Uh-uh.
I remember years ago when my boys were little, we were doing our scouting thing.
Yep.
And, of course, when they were little, you could wake them up any time and they'd get up and go with you.
Oh, yeah.
After they turn into teenagers, they stop doing that kind of stuff. Dad, I don't feel like it today.
Yeah, it's not as much fun.
Yeah. So we're out in the woods, and we're moving from one spot to the next, at that first light.
Yep.
And we're on a 2-track. So the one boy is standing. We got an old Astro van, right?
Yep.
One boy's standing between the seats, and the other one's sitting in the seat, and we're just kind of going along about 2 mile an hour or whatever. And up ahead, there's a small hill that we'd have to drive over, one of the ridges going through the woods. And right on top, excuse me, right on top we see No, right on the bottom, halfway up the hill, a turkey crosses, and he's scooting along. Just not like at a full run, when they get real fast.
Yep.
But just kind of moving along and not just walking. So he's in between. And the next thing, the boys are stuck on the turkey. Well, I'm wondering what's making that turkey go. Okay. So I look, and off to the right of the 2-track, a coyote pops his head up over top of the ridge. And I was so lucky to see him at that spot. I'm thinking, oh, wow, there's a coyote tracking that turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And so I told the boys, and they keep watching, and the coyote was actually high enough on the ridge that as he crossed the 2-track, you could see the coyote go across. Well, then, of course, he was getting really close to that turkey because the turkey ran into like a bowl.
Yep.
And we thought, oh, golly, and that turkey went over that ridge. And we don't know for sure what happened, but the coyote didn't get him. It was assumed that the coyote got close enough, the turkey flew.
Yep.
But we were still moving, so we weren't out of the vehicle and so on. It was just kind of neat to see that. So if you're going to take your kids out to do some of this scouting stuff, that's what you want to do.
It's a lot of fun. They let them use the locator calls.
Right.
It's easy and it's fun. And the more hands-on they get, the more they love it.
Oh, they absolutely love it. The owl calls. My kids can work all the calls. My wife went nuts when they were little. Absolutely nuts when they were little because they did all those calls. But now, so we locate them, and then we know where they're at, so we know what to do. When we come back, we're going to talk about the setup.
Yep.
And the
calling them in.
I was trying to think of something cool like Kiss of Death. Anyway, the Outdoor Show is brought to you by Advantage Marine in Zeeland with competitive prices and personalized service to meet all your needs. Repair, storage, winterizing, parts, and more. Call Advantage Marine in Zeeland at 616-748-9235 or stop in and see Dave at 8755 Riley Street in Zeeland. That's at the corner of 88th and Riley on the northeast side of Zeeland. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on the Outdoor Show. Welcome back to the Outdoor Show, brought to you by Michigan Firearms, educating people in the safe and responsible use of firearms since 2001. Michigan Firearms offers education, training, and supply. That's why it's called My Firearms ETS. The best you can find anywhere. Classes are offered regularly. Class sizes are limited. Register early. Reserve your spot. 616-218-7328 or find us on your computer at mifirearmsets.com. Which reminds me, you have another one of those personal protection courses, April 24, 25. But you got to get registered soon, or we're going to run out of spots because we limit our classes, the sizes of our classes. We're unlimited in the classes we provide. Anyway, we're back, ready to talk with you. Give us a call, 395-1450. Oh, wait, I know everybody wanted me to say it, but I don't have that sponsorship this quarter. It's MOA Gunsmithing. Right on, dead on, all the time. Okay, so back to turkey talk. Turkey talk. Yeah. Talk dirty to turkeys. We're going to talk dirty to the turkeys. And the whole thing is, we really are talking dirty to the turkeys because we're trying to mimic the hens, right?
Yep. You're sounding like a hen that's ready to breed.
And tell the big boys with those big long beards, hey, get over here.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so in doing that, where should we or how should we set up to maximize the benefit of knowing where they're at?
Well, once you've got them on that roost tree, you know pretty much exactly what tree they're in.
Okay.
You do not want to get closer than about 100 yards unless you're planning on getting in there an hour before light.
Okay, so if I go an hour before light, how close can I get?
I still wouldn't push more than probably 75 yards.
Okay. Because I know by mistake one time I sat underneath them.
And sometimes you get lucky and they...
Oh, no, they just go as far as they can.
Yeah, most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, they're flying the other way. And they're out of range by the time they hit the ground. Yeah,
they're definitely... They're flying somewhere that you weren't. And exactly. I was sitting right underneath their tree. Exactly. And I mean, literally, I sat on the tree when I first started turkey hunting. I thought, okay, I remember they were over here, but it was dark.
Yep.
And I came in and, this is a nice big tree with a nice open area underneath it. I'll call them in here. I'll get them. Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
No, not when you hear them start to putt in the morning.
Well, it scares the daylights out of you when they fly away, too.
Yeah.
Because they're right on top of you. Anyhow, so we're getting within 100 yards.
Yep.
But no closer than 75.
Yep.
Only if it's an hour before the first light cracks.
Exactly.
And so let's stay 100 yards out.
Yep, we're 100 yards out. What we want to do, start off with some light tree calling.
Well, before we do that light tree calling, we got 360 degrees around that roost tree.
Yep.
Where should we be?
Again, that goes back to your scouting, like what we did before. You stay there and watch them, and as they fly off, like this weekend, you watch that roost tree. Okay, you know where they're at. Mm-hmm. You watch them fly down. They're flying down. They're heading this way, and you know they're heading to a cornfield or a
food source,
a green field.
Okay, so we want to cut them off.
Yep. So you get in that flight path where they're going to fly down. You get right in to where they're going to go.
Go 100 yards from the roost tree, cut them off.
Exactly.
Okay. So we get there, getting set up.
Yep.
How do we get, do we want one of those little pop-up type blinds? What do we want there?
If you're bow hunting, yeah. If you're just shotgun hunting, best thing to do is just have a nice comfortable seat, because you may be there a while. Sometimes the birds are a little stubborn and they'll just sit in the tree and gobble.
I have a vest that's like built in like a bleacher seat, not the floppy seat underneath, but it's like a bleacher seat where it's got the straps you can tighten up.
Yep.
So you can sit. You don't even need a tree behind you.
Yeah,
you're sitting there.
I've got the same kind.
I love that vest.
The older you get, the more comfortable your vest gets, and the more comfortable your seat gets.
So we get set up, and if we're shotgunning, we don't need a pop-up. If we're going to be doing bow hunting, we might want one of those pop-ups that go right into a circle that we can put right on our back.
Yep.
Okay. At that point, we're in there before the light starts to crack on the horizon, or starts to brighten up, I should say. And you started mentioning before I brought us back a little ways, what are we going to do with our game calls?
At Rod Benson game calls, we like to just say we're going to talk dirty to them. Mm-hmm. We just start sounding like that hen that's ready to breed. Nice, soft, yelping early in the morning. Mm-hmm. It usually gets them going.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything more than just a nice light yelp. And those birds are ready to go early in the morning.
What is the difference between a yelp and I'm losing the terminology?
Cut.
A cut. A yelp and a cut.
A yelp is their general, just I'm over here. It's a little bit longer, and it sounds just about as you say it. It's just a yelp. Yelp.
I was going to say,
yelp.
is it kind of like what you're saying?
Yep.
You want it to sound that way off the call?
Yep.
Okay. We should have had some calls this morning, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Bugger.
It gets pretty loud, but.
Bugger. Okay, so the yelp, a soft yelp.
Yep, a soft yelp.
Not a putt?
Nope.
Because a putt doesn't happen in the tree, or does happen in the tree?
Sometimes they do, but mostly you want to hear them. You want to hear them cluck and not putt. The difference.
Everybody's going cluck, putt, yelp, cut. What?
Yeah. They start putting. It's usually really loud, and that's I'm heading away. That's a distress.
Putt.
Yep.
Putt.
Yep.
Okay, and then that's louder.
Yep. And if
cluck is more like the chicken walking around in the yard going. Cluck, cluck, cluck,
yep.
cluck.
It's just I'm here.
He's just saying.
Yep.
I'm eating. Cluck, cluck.
And then along with the clucking, you'll hear them do some purring.
Oh yeah, the purr.
Yep.
Like your tongue is flipping on the roof of your mouth.
Yep.
If you say it, it's
just like that.
Not quite like that. My voice doesn't quite do that.
Yeah. It gets that little bit higher pitch.
Yeah, it's got a little higher tone in it, which I don't hear very well.
Yeah.
But they do that when they're comfortable, right?
Yep, when they're comfortable, and they especially do it a lot while they're scratching and feeding.
Okay.
Turkeys pretty much, they just walk and feed.
The term feeding purr.
Yep. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're clucking. You hear that just little light cluck, 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 and then you'll hear a purr. And then every now and then you'll just hear one of the hens in the flock, yelp, 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 yelp. And that's just we're over here.
Is that the yelp or the cut?
That's just the yelp.
Okay, the yelp is saying, hey, we're over here, come on over this way.
Now, cutting comes in, which is just clucks, just real fast and excited, which is a cluck, 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 cluck.
Yeah. I've heard them do that before.
Yep. And once
As I walked up on them.
once they start doing that, a lot of times that'll really get a gobbler excited because it's an excited hen call. And once she's excited, then he gets excited.
He says, ooh, what's going on over there? I'm coming over. I'll be there in a minute.
Yep, he's on his way.
Okay. And what is a kiki run? Does that happen in the spring or only in the fall?
Only in the fall.
That's a gathering type call, right?
Yep. It happens late in the fall once the poults are getting bigger.
They're gathering the poults back up saying, we're going this way.
Yep.
Hey, dummy, you're
Over
going
here.
the wrong way. Come here.
Yep, exactly.
So that's not a dirty talk.
Nope.
But the clucking.
The clucking, especially when you're doing the cutting, the exciting clucks.
Okay. And that's hey, big guy, you with the beard, come over here.
Exactly.
And they come in and do that full strut where they puff their chest out, drop their wings down, flare their tail out.
Yep.
And then they do the old spitting drum.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
And then there's the fighting purr.
Yep.
So there's a lot. And now, folks, you can go online and you can look things up like this. But Rod Benson Game Calls, what's the web address?
I don't have it with me right now. But you can look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. That's easier to find us. Rod Benson Game Calls or Thrill Chasers Productions.
Thrill Chasers Productions. I remember you sent me a thing for that.
Yep.
I just went to there. There it is.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. And remember, Rod Benson Game Calls. Talk dirty to him. Talk to you next week.